We will give special attention to the currents because we claim that is after we discovered the importance of the currents. So we claim that the early expansions, and in fact all expansions of humans across the world, are largely defined by some of the most important currents in the world. So we will give special attention to this current, and also to this current that goes straight to the UK. So this woman, this UK woman, uh, is in the UK for thousands of years. At least her DNA that she holds um, is in the UK for thousands of years. Uh, Probably around 40 to 50,000 years. She also holds Iberian, that means Portugal and Spain, DNA. So um, they say, they claim, consensus claims when they read such tests, that our origins, and we claim these are destinations of their ancestor. So their ancestor, for us, their ancestor went to the UK and went to Iberia. Um, and then her ancestors went to Australia, Guinea, Japan, East Siberia, Alaska, and not sure if this woman has Mesoamerican. It's another woman that has roughly the same, but she has Mesoamerican DNA. So Surui are here a little bit northeast of the Titicaca Lake. This dot, or this small circle, is the Titicaca Lake in the south of Peru. So these Surui and the other Surui-like groups are in this region, right to the Andes in the Amazon forest. The Amazon forest is roughly like this, roughly. Okay, so let's take Titicaca Lake as the Surui and Surui likes. So they come from here, they cross the Andes, and get on the current with ships, because with rafts they wouldn't survive. They wouldn't even do that, because this is something on purpose. They leave the Amazon forest to go on ships, and some of this ancestor group, the Surui and Surui likes, uh, ends up in Australia. Another group ends up in Guinea. Another group in Japan, in the oldest tribes, and uh, that's the same for Australia and Papua New Guinea, and East Asia. It's and in Alaska. In Alaska, it's in fact she has the DNA of an archaeological site where the fossils are 11,000 years old. So her ancestors left for all these places and installed them. In our opinion, on several voyages. So they chose a destination and settled, because thinking that they traveled from one place to the other, from Australia to Guinea to Japan to East Siberia to Alaska to Mesoamerica and also to the UK and to Iberia is quite, uh, well, uh, improbable. Not quite, very improbable. So you simply cannot get there because ancient tribes of over 50 to 70,000 years old ago, according to consensus, they didn't travel, they didn't know transatlantic, they didn't navigate the sea, they had no clue of navigation. So that is proven wrong. They um, they understood the ocean currents better than most people today, except probably for people that really navigate them, these oceans, the Pacific and the Atlantic, which are enormous. The distance between America and Asia is roughly half of the Earth's circumference, so that means 20,000 kilometers. While the shortest distance, if I'm not mistaken, is roughly 3,000 kilometers. But still, this is enormous. These oceans are enormous. But um, the Atlantic is small in comparison to the Pacific, which covers half of the globe. So, okay, but there's no other explication that they used currents, had ships, ocean worthy ships, probably fleets, and knew how to navigate. And we all know that the Polynesians consensus recognizes that they could travel so far uh, across the Pacific. Um, so New Zealand, they certainly had to navigate oceans even much more than Australians, um, because well, it's much further from any other place. But we all know the Polynesians at some point traveled to Easter Island, which is in front of Chile, and to Hawaii, which is in front of West North America. So anyhow, there are 195 countries in the world, and the DNA of this woman um, and the DNA of this woman um, has carries DNA from Australia. Let's say this is Guinea, Japan, China, and East Siberia. So that's one, two, three, four, five. And also the upwind river children in Alaska is six and six. Six places, and no other places in the Pacific or in Eurasia. And you see that most of them are islands. So, as said, the other places are UK and Iberia. So from here, from the Titicaca Lake, it drains in the Atlantic Ocean um, through the Amazon River at some point. The name is Amazon River, and then you have tributaries that don't have the name Amazon River, but they end up in the Amazon River, and the Amazon River drains in Belém in Brazil, and then comes in the current and is, amongst others, or could be, amongst others, delivered in the UK and Spain. And these were indeed the destinations that we can see that these Surui and Surui likes went through the Atlantic Ocean, in this case, the North Atlantic Ocean. So all these voyages, all this DNA arrived thousands of years ago. Um, there's indications that some of this DNA was 40 to 50,000 years ago, and there are markers in the Surui DNA of these Amazon Amerindians uh, that is 50 to 70,000 years old at least. It could be a million of years ago old. These are old. Here in the case of Alaska, it's fossils of DNA that has the Surui as ancestor, and that is extinct. So it's a ghost, but is also in our DNA after Surui, and it's a ghost because it went extinct. And the fossils are 11,000 years old and related to Surui, but younger than Surui. And the Surui are not ghosts; they are alive. They are alive. Um, they live in several tribes, and as said, they were discovered 60,000 years ago and largely extinct. So supposedly by diseases, but they speak themselves of massacres. Um, so, okay, so nothing is spread to Africa or Middle East or Eurasia or Europe, um, relatively limited in North America, because if it was 50 to 70,000 years ago, this North America was largely under kilometers of glaciers, and the same for Asia. But this is a warm current, so Japan and this coast had the influence, and this coast where the fossils are found are relatively warm because it's warm currents from the tropics. The same for New Zealand, the same for Australia, the same for Guinea. Uh, and then the latest uh, move of these two women uh, are possibly in the Holocene, or close to the Holocene, and so it would make climate in the UK more survivable. Okay, thank you. This video is related to another video where we will make a link to, possibly at the end of this video or in the description. Thank you. Bye.